Hello, everyone. Today, I will be walking you through the JSTOR database and discussing some of its basic and unique features. So before we start using the database for searching, it's important to first check the About tab. This can also be accessed down here. You can see About JSTOR, and then you can access the mission and history. Um, so before we start using a database, it's really important to consider the scope or the range of content that's offered. This is important because, like any other tool, you want to be sure that you're using the right database for the right job. If you don't, you run the risk of missing that resource that fits your research needs perfectly. So this information is right down here. And JSTOR is short for journal storage, and it's actually a digital library of journals, academic ebooks, and primary sources. In terms of the scope of the content, JSTOR is primarily a humanities and social science database, but if you go to the Browse by Subject tab right here, you can see there's actually quite a variety of things they offer. There's a lot of arts, and there's an extensive collection of science and mathematics. So in total, JSTOR lists more than 12 million articles, books, and primary sources. And JSTOR allows you to search the full text of more than 2,300 journals. There are also a lot of images and visual art, so much so that JSTOR has a separate section called ArtStore that deals with this material. So one last thing to keep in mind before we start searching is that you are signed in through your institution. So that's displayed right up there. And if you're not signed in, you run the risk of encountering a lot of content that you may not have access to. All right, so with this background out of the way, let's start searching. So this is the basic search here. So it's essentially a full text and image keyword search when you put in terms here. So this means that the search is conducted on the full text of the materials listed and not just the title or the author, what we would refer to as metadata. So for this reason, if you use the basic search as you would use Google, you may not get the most relevant results. So one way to improve the relevancy of your results or to further refine your search is to use quotation marks. So I'll show you what that looks like. So for that search, so what it's doing is searching each term independently, and that yields about 6,000 results. So if I then link it, quotations, it'll search these two terms as an exact phrase that aren't to be separated. And then we can see that that changes how many results we're getting. And you can also use Boolean operators like and, or not to further refine your searches. And there's a number of facets along the left-hand side here that can also be used to refine your searches. And then if you want to do all of this sort of refinement before you search, you can do that through the advanced search option. So it allows you to search specific fields and combine them with others using Boolean operators. All right, so now I want to discuss some of the unique features of JSTOR. So the first is the workspace tool, and this functions as a digital personal library within JSTOR. The one thing with this is you actually do have to make a personal account just through your email. It's free to sign up, and then you can then save works here. So I've saved one, and then you can move it around. You can add folders to further organize your materials. So that one's pretty straightforward. So the next tool is the text analyzer. So this tool allows you to upload any document. It could be your own or another paper, and you drop it into the search box here. And then what it does is it will analyze the uploaded text for key terms and topics. And then using these terms, it will generate recommendations of similar things. So one cool thing about this is that it can deal with a lot of different types of documents. You could do Word docs, PowerPoints, PDFs. You could even upload an image of a textbook or a URL of a website, and it will find the text it needs, and it will analyze it. So as you can see, it's found these prioritized terms from that example text I uploaded. And it gives you a little readout of how prioritized it is. And then you can even add topics if you feel that the analyzer missed something that you think should be prioritized. So it's worth noting that the tool is still in the beta stage. This doesn't mean that it's not functional. It just means that they're still developing it and it's still evolving. So that's something to keep in mind. Another thing is that if you upload too small amount of text, it might not be able to generate a very relevant term, or if your text features a lot of figurative language or an extended metaphor, the analyzer might get a bit confused and it might think that the text is about one thing when it's really about another. The last thing to note about this is that it doesn't save or retain any text that you upload, so your privacy is protected. All right, so the last interesting research tool offered by JSTOR is the Understanding series. So this tool allows you to search hundreds of primary works, and I should note that the primary works listed are those that have entered into the public domain, so that's one limitation. And then it allows you to see which passages have been the most cited. So as you can see, there's a list of numbers here, and they coincide with the passages. So you can actually click, so we'll click that one, and then by clicking the number, you're able to view all the JSTOR materials which have cited or quoted that particular passage. And then you can then filter by date, access level, or content type. And similar to the other tool, the text analyzer, this one's also in the beta stage. So it just means that they're still developing it. But one interesting aspect about that is that you can actually vote on what primary works you want to see added to this tool. So these are the basic and unique features offered by JSTOR. I personally have used it, and I find JSTOR to be very easy and intuitive to use and pretty effective for finding relevant and interesting things. So one last bit of advice I want to share is if you ever have any questions about the database, check out the support tab right here, or if you scroll down to the bottom, the library guide is very helpful, and even research basics. I've also found some videos on YouTube that were posted by JSTOR that explain how to use the database and how to become a better searcher more generally, and I've included the link to one of these videos in the description of this video. So thank you all for listening, and happy searching.